guys, it's Melanie from She Stitch and welcome back to our Just Another Crochet Along. The stitch of the week this week is the cluster stitch. You'll see it here in the gray with a few of our other squares behind it. This is a really fun stitch. It works up really fast because these stitches are so tall, and that makes me really enjoy it. If you're doing the crochet along with us, I used the 3.5 hook, and so a 3.5 hook, and then it's going to be a starting chain of 31. So if you want to go ahead and start that off, you can, while I'm chatting and showing some different options. So that's the option that I'm going to mix in with my blanket, and then I wanted to work it up in a variegated yarn for you. So I have my very vibrant choice here, and you can see that this would be a great stitch for color pooling. This is just a variegated yarn, and it started to color pool. So if you wanted to use this stitch for plan pulling, that would be great. If you want to work up a swatch in a different size, all you need is a starting chain in a multiple of 2 plus 1. I also worked it up in this pretty white, and for this swatch I did use a 5.5 hook. Just so I used a 9 or a 5.5 mm hook to do this, just to show that it really is pretty if you work it up with a larger hook to get a little bit more looseness in the stitches here. But in order to maintain the gauge, if you're doing the crochet along with us, in order to match our other squares or other swatches, it does need to be that 3.5. And then I also worked it up in a size 10 Aunt Lydia's. This is the ocean color. And you can see it's also would be great color pooling out of this yarn if you figure out the right stitch count. It is a very pretty stitch in the thread, and I really do love this thread. I love the depth and the brightness that you get out of this colorway. It's the ocean colorway from Aunt Lydia's. So if you like to crochet with thread, you have an idea what that looks like. Okay, so I will join you at the bottom at the end of our 31 chain. Alright, so we've got our chain here of 31, and this is in my pale green from the Caron 1 pound, which is one of my colors for the crochet along here. And so we have our chain of 31. I'm going to skip the first back bump, and I'm going to do a single crochet into the next one. So the single crochet, you place it through the space, yarn over once, pull through, yarn over again, and pull through 2. That's going to be our first stitch of row 1. Then what we're going to do is chain 1, and we're going to skip a space, and then we're going to do another single crochet. So we skip 1 and go into the next one. And that's what we're going to do all the way across until the end. So chain 1 and skip a space, then single crochet, chain 1 and skip that space. So go ahead and do that all the way across, and I'll meet you at the other side. So now that we've reached the end of our row, we have one single crochet left. So what we were doing was single crochet, chain, single crochet with the skip space under the chain. And in the last space, we're just going to put another single crochet. So make sure to include that there. And then what we're going to do to start off row 2 is we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then we're going to turn. Oh, and I just realized, for those of you that are in my Facebook group, you see that burn on my hand. That's the burn I was talking about that was keeping me from crocheting. Alright, so I'm holding my needle a little awkwardly today. It's quite a blister. Anyways, so we're going to move on to the cluster stitch here. So what we're going to do is we're going to yarn over once, and we're going to find the space in our last row that was created by the chain space. So here we have that gap. So we're going to yarn over and place our hook in there, then pull a loop through, and then we're going to pull a loop through these two, just like you would if you were doing a double crochet. but we're not going to do the last step of the double crochet. We're going to leave that there, and we're going to do it again. So yarn over, place in the same spot, yarn over the back, pull up a loop, pull through 2. And then you can see we have 2 of those beginning of double crochets. And then we're going to do that again. So yarn over, place in the same space, yarn over, pull a loop through, yarn over, pull through 2, and then we've got 3 of those. And we're going to yarn over again, place in the same space, pull a loop up, yarn over, pull through 2, then we have 5 loops on the hook, and we have 4 of those repetitions, then yarn over and pull through all 5, and then we're going to close that with a chain stitch. So that is our cluster stitch, and that's what we're going to be doing all the way down this row. So we're going to do a cluster stitch in each of those chain spaces. So let's go ahead and do that again. So you start with the yarn over and you go into the chain space, pull a loop up, yarn over, pull through 2, and we'll do that again. Yarn over, place through the same space, pull a loop through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and start again. Place in the same stitch, yarn over, pull a loop up, yarn over, pull through 2. We have 3 of those with 4 loops on. Do it last time. Yarn over, place in through the stitch, pull loop up, yarn over, pull through 2. And then we have 5 on, and then yarn over and pull through all 5 and do a chain stitch. So I'll do that one more time with you. Yarn over, place into the space, pull loop through, yarn over, pull through 2. Then we do that again. Sorry about that. Yarn over, place in there, yarn over, pull up 2, or yarn over, pull up 1 loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Then yarn over, pull loop up, yarn over, pull through 2. Do it one more time. Yarn over, place in the same space, yarn over, pull up, yarn over, pull through 2. You have 5 loops on, yarn over, pull through all of them, and then chain 1 to close it off on the top. So there we have our clusters. I've done 3 with you, and each row is going to have 14 clusters if you're doing the crochet along with us. So let's go ahead and finish that off, and I'll meet you for the last cluster. Okay, I'm just going to join you for our last cluster stitch here. So we do the yarn over, place in the hole, yarn over, pull a loop through, yarn over, pull through 2. And we do that again. Yarn over, pull a loop through, yarn over, pull through 2, and do it again. Pull up a loop, pull through 2, yarn over, pull up a loop, and pull through 2. And then we've got 5 on there. Oops. And then, sorry, I think a little more slack. So we've got 5 loops. We close with the chain. All right. And then in the last stitch, we're going to do a double crochet. So I'm going to go into the top of that turning stitch from the row below. So yarn over, place in there, yarn over, pull through 2 for a double crochet at the end. So there we have our first row, and I'm going to change colors now to start, there we have our first row of clusters. It's actually row 2. So I'm going to switch colors now just to see what it looks like. So give me just a moment. Okay, so I have my next color. I'm going to use my light gray from my Caron 1 Pound, which is one of my other colors from the Crochet Along, to tie in here. If you're not changing color, what you're going to do is just a 1 chain. So let me do a slip knot really quick. Okay, so if you are not changing color, you can just do a chain 1, and then you're going to do a single crochet into this space here. And if you are changing colors like I am, you can just do a simple single crochet, standing single crochet there. So row 3 starts with 1 single crochet, and then we're going to put another single crochet into this space here, which is created from the chain 1. So go ahead and insert your hook, and we'll do another single crochet here. And then we're going to chain 1, and we're going to skip over this longer stitch here and go into the next tight, chain 1 there. And that's what we're going to do the whole rest of the way. So we chain 1, skip a space, and go into that next space, which is the same as row 2. All right. It's okay, turn the light on. Sorry, my son. All right, so chain 1, skip a space, and go into the next one. Single crochet and chain 1. So I do want to take a second. Well, go ahead and we'll repeat this all the way across this row. I do want to take a second, though, to say thank you to Pauline from our Facebook group for recommending me to use vinegar to stop my burn from hurting, because I'm a big wimp when it comes to burns. And once I let that vinegar in, I did stop having the pain. So that was a great home remedy. And I am a big sucker for burns. I'm not good at handling them at all. So I was very happy to have a home remedy for that. All right. So go ahead and do this, and I will meet you at the end of the row. Okay, so I'm at the end of the row here. I've come to the last cluster. So we've got a chain, we've got a single crochet, and then the chain 1, and then we're going to go into this last space here, and then we're going to end with 2 single crochets. So we're going to put 1 single crochet here, if I can get it through, there we go, a single crochet there, which was in that chain 1 space, and then on the top of that turning chain, we're also going to put another single crochet. So we're ending the row with 2 single crochets in a row. There we go. All right, so that's the end of row 3. And now we're going to go ahead and repeat row 2. So at this point, you can check your gauge, but I think it would probably be a better idea to check your gauge at the end of row 4. So let's go ahead and repeat row 2 now for row 4. So we're going to chain 4, 2, 3, 4, and do our first cluster stitch. So we're going to find the last space that we left, the last chain space. We're going to do the cluster, and just a reminder, it's yarn over, place through, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and then do that again, pull loop through, until we have done that 4 times, have 5 loops. All right, and I did that quickly, but I wanted to show you that these are going to stack on top of each other. So that's how it will be the whole way up. They're going to be straight up and down on top of each other. So you can see in the looser yarn, you can still see that that's happening straight up and down on top of each other. All right, so I'll do this next one with you slowly. So you can see this long chain, or this long skip space, and the chain space, and that's where we're going to go. So place your hook in there, pull loop up, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, go back in, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, go in the same space, pull loop through, pull through 2, and one more time, yarn over, go in the same place, pull loop, go through 2, got 5 loops on, yarn over, pull through all 5, and single crochet. So that's what we're going to do the whole rest of the way across this. Just keep going. I really think this is turning out beautiful in 2 colors. Oops. My yarn separated a little bit. Had a little bit of a tug here. My yarn fell off what was holding it up. Do a few more with you. So we've got 2 on, yarn over, place in, yarn over, pull loop through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, place in, yarn over, pull loop, Go through 2. We've got 5 on, yarn over, go through all 5, and then chain. So that's what we're going to do all the way across. And at the end of this row would be the best time to check your gauge to make sure it's matching up with your other squares. One more. And oops, like I said before, you can tell that you're doing everything okay by making sure that the clusters are lining up straight up and down on top of each other. There you can see. I hope that you guys like this stitch as much as I do. In the background you can see some of our other stitches. Oh, I've got a little bit of a yarn barf here. So in the background you can see some of our other stitches. This is the moss stitch and the spike stitch. And while I do think they're beautiful stitches, those stitches are very hard for me to keep interested in because they grow so slowly. This stitch, however, because these cluster stitches are so tall, and then that row in between goes so quickly, I feel like this goes so fast. And in order to meet the height, you only need 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 rows, which is the least rows we've had so far. So it does grow very quickly. It's our fastest growing piece. And if you're like me and you have a short attention span for stitches or for the blanket you're working on, this works great. And because it has such a small stitch here, or a small row here, and then another large row, those are the kind of stitches that work great for color pooling. So that's why on those other samples I showed you at the beginning, that's why this stitch works well for a color pool. It might be a little bit harder to figure out the math than using maybe like this. I guess actually my whole back row here would work good for color pooling, because the way the lines, the rows are on top of each other. This was the basket V stitch, the moss stitch, and the spike stitch. So I would like to invite you to join our Crochet Along group on Facebook, where there is a growing community of people starting off Crochet Along together, or just sharing work on other projects that we're working on too. It's a growing community, so if you're just finding me now, there's plenty of people just finding me on Facebook also, so you can join the Crochet Along. I really like this Crochet Along because it's not as strict as others. You know, it's not like a mandala Crochet Along or something, where you have to do things in a particular order, or if you skip a week, then you're very behind. Because these samples, it doesn't matter what order you go in, you can do whichever order you like. I've spent the last few days putting edges on my pieces, and I've come to the block stitch, and I'm having a hard time choosing a background color or an edging color for my block stitch. Let me see where it went. So what I'm talking about is like this granny spike stitch I lined in my dark teal, and you can see like my spike stitch has got the pale green, and this one has my light teal. So this is my block stitch, so it's got all of my colors in it. I'm having a hard time choosing which color to put the edging in. So if you want to comment down below and let me know what color you think I should put the edging in, I'll put that back up in the background so you can take a look at it. I don't know, I'm thinking either the dark gray, the dark blue, the Cape Cod blue, or maybe just in the brown to make it, I'm not sure. So tell me what you guys think. I'm at a loss on that one. I also have an Instagram, a Tumblr, a TikTok, and a Reddit. If you are on any of those platforms and you want to follow me there, that would be great. And if you have, I also have a Pinterest board for this, so all of the tutorials, you can find them easier. The easiest way, though, to find all the tutorials is to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And that way, you can see all of the videos I've done to date. And most of them have been for the Crochet Along, but I hope to start making some other videos soon. I recently, for Mother's Day, got a yarn winder, so hopefully I will have some fun time, or sometime soon, to show you my yarn winder. I've also been working on a dream catcher pattern, and I'll be working on a child's mandala vest soon. So I have some projects in the work. So as you can see here, this is with a 3.5, and it's looking a little bit big. So make sure at this point you should check your gauge. From my pattern testers, one of them used a 3.5 and it worked. One used a 3.25 to get the pattern to match. I think sometimes when I'm crocheting on camera, it makes my tension a little different, so that's probably why. This was with a 3.5, and you can see here with my bean square, it does match. We'll just have the borders in to compensate that extra space there. So at the end of row 4 is going to be when you want to check your tension, check your gauge, and you can change your hook size in order to make it match your other squares. And one of my other pattern testers did have to go up a size. So I'm at the end of my row here. We're just going to do a double crochet in the end into that slip stitch or that standing single crochet. And then if you're going to want to change color, right now would be a good time to go back to the next color. Oh my goodness, this is looking very beautiful to me. So if you have any questions, please comment down below or join me on any of the other platforms I was talking about. I hope to hear from you soon, and if anybody asks where I am, until next week, just tell them she's stitching.